very good talk on good old-fashioned AI meets transformers. Thank you so much for bringing the history of. It's been a while since I heard about Terry Winograd's paper. It's awesome to kind of introduce H2O to some of the audience here. Many of you are familiar with our community. How many of you have used or heard of H2O before? It's a very strong community in attendance. And like water, our dream was like water to see AI everywhere, and it's kind of incredible to see that happen in a deluge of adoption of AI everywhere. So super thankful for the community for supporting us over the years. I think we are here mostly because of the incredible sacrifices of our team. It wouldn't be possible without the makers, past, present, and future. And we pay homage to many AI folks, not just this current crop of AI innovators, to all greatness. And we stand on shoulders of incredible innovations, both open source and closed. And it's quite a thrill to kind of present some of that work. With gratitude, we're here after COVID. Thank you so much, Atlanta, for hosting us. And we think of BC as before COVID. All data that we had before has to be rebuilt. Another theme, we've been talking about features and feature stores. I think from feature stores to feature story, kind of the story of your data is what's going to come in spades thanks to Gen AI. It's going to also pay homage. This is our slide that has always been with us since a long time. It's in font Georgia. Thank you, Georgia, for saving the democracy a few years ago. Data scientists, extremely passionate about data. And I think, hopefully, we hope to all be talking about the stories of the journey. And the struggle is the story. If you're struggling with data, you're struggling with whatever you're doing in the world today, that struggle has a story behind, and that story is what you want to highlight, and hopefully Gen AI is going to take us there. Data science, obviously, is a search for truth, and between zero and infinite, we're pretty much in that spot. With that, I want to jump quickly to kind of the story of today, which is how to use generative AI to kind of tell even more powerful stories. We'll do a fireside chat about with a LLM. H2GPT is 100% open source. It uses obviously Llama 2, and with 4 or 5 simple steps, everybody in the audience should be able to run a Llama 2 on your laptops, right? Sort of this is something that GGML allows you to quantize it and run on a simple, any hardware. So it's about 30 tokens per minute. It's not very fast, but it works. Okay, why? How should? Well, I think how should? So let's ask Purmi. Tell us how Llama 2 works. And I think, obviously, you're looking at several LLMs here in action. Llama 2, talking about Llama 2 here, between the 70 billion parameter model here to these 13 billion. This is the front page of most of our LLMs. That's kind of Llama 2 explaining itself. Most of you have heard about someone was quoting, and earlier there was the Llama 2 attention is everything paper. So let's feed it Llama 2 paper and see what it does. And so this is, let's use RAG to kind of help us understand how is it different from Llama 1, right? So it's a very simple question. We're going to feed this. Most of you have seen this paper. While it's doing that, let me just upload it here. So most of you heard of RAG. So this is essentially doing embeddings on this paper, kind of starting to kind of, it's a very well written paper. Many of you have not written it, read it. I would definitely encourage it. It's a good read. So what it's actually doing is essentially pulling up, doing the embeddings on the fly for you, and moving from a pure LLM mode into something that is going to answer based on the particular document. I think I might have, let's give it a few more seconds to see how long that works. By the way, how many of you are evaluating LLMs? While that is up, I'm going to pull up methods of evaluating an LLM. We have an eval GPT AI, which is actually trying to run LLMs to compete against each other using an ELO rank, very similar to how chess grandmasters compete with each other. So again, using one of them, the top LLM, as a judge, we found that March 14th version of Llama 2 of GPT-4 is a good is the best LLM currently out there as service. Okay, so now it's chunked, and per chunk it has metadata as well as. So let me just go and clear what we have and start asking a question. How does Llama 2 differ from Llama 1? Of course, we have a spelling mistake there. Let's see what it does with the spelling mistake. But I think, so long story short, it's going to have to actually answer from the document. So many of you are using RAG or thinking of using RAG. So this is obviously Llama 7B, which is a terse 7-year-old, is going to give us exactly the difference in parameters, but it's off. Let's see what Llama 70B comes back with. And I think these are kind of the beginnings of how we plug in model. How do we get results from document? The document actually does go into detail. Now, one of our customers is a bank, Commonwealth Bank of Australia. They use us for their next best conversation apps. They build us, use us for benefits finder apps. They have more than 1,000 models in production across a gamut of use cases, including credit scoring, right? Sort of fuel finder because oil was a little expensive. And here's a slide where they talk about how they use H2O. Now let's see if we can feed this one into one of our platforms. And I think, again, this is a little bit more enterprise edition of the same LLM and same GPT. So now let's take a view of how this one does it. Again, I think I just loaded this a bit earlier. So while it's up, it's again doing the same thing, but even more, gives you access, fine-grained access. So let's ask a chat here. So describe in 10 ways how H2O AI is helping CBA. I'll put a question there. Again. What are you seeing there? So again, this is a little bit more nuanced because it has to go and check different documents, different inferences in the document, right? Sort of because there's references that go into the other documents as well, other slides. So between slides, it's able to give a very detailed answer of connecting different slides and telling a very powerful story on how much value they got from different page processing to so on and so forth. Like, for example, you'll see the main slide obviously is there, but the sub slide that is referred in the main slide is also pulled out. So you can see that with fair prompts, you can actually deliver some high-end kind of customer experiences on internal documents that don't need to go into ChatGPT or other public or Anthropic or other public services. So that's kind of the next phase of most of LLMs. Again, this is work in progress. Team's been busy working on building a very rich experience for our customers. For folks who have actually been following us beyond the open source, we actually have brought all of those together end to end, so you can actually see in a app store, right? Sort of that's the metaphor for solving problems that are focused problems. So you're going to see typically these days, if you're at H2O or you're a customer of H2O, you're going to see most of what we deliver as an application, right? So how does so it starts with the data, right? So the data studio allows you to do ETL on content, so bring different documents and create Q&A pairs, and then use those Q&A pairs to fine-tune, and these Q&A pairs are generated using LLM, so you can take a document and use that to teach the LLM the style that you want the answer to be in. So that's the data studio. It's a reasonably, it has a good workflow, so you can actually go beyond just curation. You can actually prepare and create a nice workflow and then augment. Then another very powerful tool that team has put together is how you can use a real LLMs, fine-tuning your LLMs, but also using LLMs to generate a lot of your code. So Code Llama, some of you have seen Code Llama. This is basically using AI to generate applications, a simple dashboard. This is the wireframe of your, or a sketch of your app. And so essentially using Gen AI to generate the app itself, the dashboard itself. So folks like Plotly and others you've seen, this is a kind of able to help build those plots or Tableau plots or a Wave we produce, or Streamlit, sketch to Streamlit, sketch to Wave, sketch to kind of application generation. I think this kind of where the future is headed, where people can essentially use AI to generate AI to even fine-tune some of these titles. If you want to generate a title, there's a separate prompt for it. It uses H2O GPT to generate the title, appropriate title, so you can then start applying those to your applications. So I think it's a very optimal time, if you will. There's ever a time to be a producer, be a maker. This is the time to be a maker, because you can absolutely 10x or 100x the impact you can have on the planet. Right? Generate a ggplot to script in Python for plotting temperature in Atlanta, right? And I think, time is absolutely ripe to be able to generate, have magnifying impact on your impact on the planet with the help of Gen AI and with the tool chain that's out there, both open and closed. You absolutely can produce an incredible amount of, you can produce impact that previously only kings and queens could have thought of. Other things that attract or we focus on, AI for good is a very key theme. That's exactly why we started the company. I started the company because my mom had breast cancer and we were fighting cancer with math. And I think we're super privileged that the world has allowed us to continue to be on that terrain. One of our customers is AT&T, and they use the entire end-to-end AI as a service with us. They gave us a problem on how to solve which telephone pole is likely to be hit by a hurricane. And we worked with Argonne National Lab and found out that the precipitation, the feature discovery came from AutoML. The precipitation 43 days before around the pole had a huge impact on when it's likely to crash. The way we built that model was using driverless AI, which is our AutoML platform. And I think many of you in the audience were pointing to that, the perfect convergence of where ML meets LLMs, where you can tell stories from features and use Shapley values to drive narratives and decisions. I think that's the place where we are heading towards, and H2O is driving an incredible piece of adoption there. This is one of our customers trying to predict their weekly sales. This actually is Kaggle contest, many of you have seen. This is a very powerful engine that we have built for feature engineering, feature discovery, bringing different models into the play, whether it's, and it runs a genetic algorithm across all the parameters. It also allows you to bring your own recipes. We have about 200 recipes that are open. We have recommendation engine that can match TikTok in its capabilities and accuracy. Hundreds of recipes that you can make yours as well and bring your own recipes. But the idea behind this tool chain is how do you balance between accuracy, speed, and interpretability in your models? And you're able to kind of essentially use the tool chain to build really rich, high-grade models. The makers behind these engines, whether it is the LLMs or AutoML or Hydrogen Torch, which is another modeling framework I will introduce, are Kaggle grandmasters. The top 10 grandmasters, 5 of them typically are from H2O. What you're seeing here is nothing fancy. I mean, it looks fancy, but it's really good old-fashioned, kind of picking the right model, making sure you prevent leakage, making sure you prevent kind of overfitting by using reusable holdout sets, and essentially doing the grunt work of machine learning using a genetic algorithm. So it's a continuously and using the best platform. This particular problem, light GBM, won over. It's also detected that the forecast horizon is 39 weeks, and it's able to pick up lag variables and essentially run transformations. What it ends up actually delivering for you is consistency of modeling. Even when you lose a data scientist, you still have the best features being generated. In the hand of a naive or a new data scientist, it can produce models of incredible value. So, and it generates, like all of our other models, modeling frameworks, it generates code from the model, so you can plug that code. And that was the code that we were seeing earlier being used in the application. So the idea is that from data to application, you're able to truly democratize the end-to-end value chain for your idea. And there's lots of models here. Predictive maintenance is a common one. You see a lot of folks in the audience who are from the industry. We work with several manufacturing companies and car companies to ensure they have very good, powerful predictive analytics on their factories and the factory floor. Supply chain demand sensing, another common use case for us. Everything is Kubernetized. When I'm doing these demos, they're not real life. You're able to go and use these applications and co-create with us. I think the key aspect that we have found that works for our customers is our customers are not just consumers. They are making AI and AI platforms, AI infrastructure, and participating in our growth. So your data is actually very valuable, and ability to use your data to build a rich outcomes is kind of where we are certainly super excited about. With that, I want to touch on a couple of things that actually are, when data is a team sport, a lot of what you're seeing, technology problems has been solved. It's the cultural ability to bring that transformation end to end. That's where leadership will be needed, courage will be needed to bring that change. Courage is still a very scarce resource, right? In the age of of Gen AI prolific code being built, what is your moat? What is your IP? Prompt is your IP, right? So the prompts you're posing against a chat GPT or a Anthropic or Claude 2 or H2 or GPT, that prompt is actually the IP because data is being synthesized. We're building a lot of models from synthetic data as well, which is very close to what you're seeing for real. And the one other biggest moat is customer and community. Community is the real moat. If you build very strong community, that is your brand. That is the one that sticks with you when things are up and down. It's like the extended family. And that community, from that rose our customers. And these customers have been co-creating with us. And people typically live longer than companies. So the data scientists that we met years ago are now rising up the ranks. According to us, in 2030, every Fortune 500 company will be led by data scientists like yourself, or data folks and AI engineers. This is going to be how the world is going to run. So every data scientist has risen up. We've been partnering with data scientists 10 years. They've risen up to be chief data analytics officers and are mostly sitting on boards. Our board actually has a PhD data scientist from one of our own customers. So the problems of data are going to be how strategy is going to be evolving. So strategy science, how you take data science and start deploying it for decisions, but also creating stories that can lead to effective strategy. Today's strategy is reasonably ad hoc, and many of my customers, whether it's Chipotle trying to do the data science of what goes into a burrito, to Reliance, which is trying to figure out how to price each of their retail products. They are essentially doing problems at the local level. When that starts rising to the level higher, one of my customers out of Australia, they're trying to understand in the geopolitical tension between US and China, what are the options they have. And they're trying to balance between risk, reward, and resilience of the decision. So taking data to decisions, both scenario planning and optimizations, as Venki in the audience will say, but beyond that, to actually create a cohesive way of driving strategy across boards, across your companies, across your whole organizations, that's the place where the road ahead is. I want to say that AI is actually your true co-founder. If you're a student getting, so I met a lot of students in the audience over the last couple of days, definitely everything is possible. And if you put your mind to it, nothing is impossible. And AI is a true co-founder for anyone with purpose and with a desire to transform the planet. So have courage and go change the world. Thank you.